Hey everybody, today we are doing another topic video. We've done this one plenty of times, but we are going over overrated actors. I asked you guys who you think is an overrated actor and why you feel that way. Because this is a regular topic, a lot of the answers that you guys give I've already covered. So unless I have something new to add to it, I'm probably not going to cover it. There are never a shortage of good answers at the same time. So I will start with the first answer I have here. No, because it's a rather dumb question and concept. Really, people only ever mean I don't like X as much as lots of other people, which is a veritable intellectual cul-de-sac. Yeah, you're right. And I mean, this entire channel is like an intellectual cul-de-sac. These are all just opinions. I think at the same time, a lot of people don't like the negativity, but I don't think I cover these topics in a negative sort of way. I like to open them up and I like to chew the fat. I am not above it. Now, I can be shady. Absolutely, but no, I don't like being mean-spirited in that way. It's just a discussion. Okay, here's one. Barry Keoghan. His performances have the subtleties of a jackhammer. Every single performance is scenery chewing, almost like forced quirkiness. His shtick of being a weird, demented guy in every role, no matter if it calls for it or not, will get really old really fast. Okay, so I completely disagree with that, but I think that is because, I mean, all that you're talking about here, the quirkiness, the shtick, all that, weird, demented guy, it comes from Killing of a Sacred Deer. I don't know if you've seen that role, but if you haven't, I highly recommend it. When I saw that film, I thought he gave one of the best villain performances that I've seen in maybe the last 10, 15 years. To get to a level of like high functioning, I'm not sure exactly what it is, and that looseness that he's playing with all in between. Obviously, I don't think they would do this in Hollywood, but if they ever wanted to make a movie about like a Nicholas Cruz or something, you know, I think Keoghan's the one. I even talked about it on the same level as like Norman Bates, but I think it's so good that yes, it's easy to get typecast in those type of roles. And so yeah, naturally he falls into that eccentric, quirky sort of thing. But I think he's done really wonderful performances in that as well, like Banshees of Inisherin as an example. Another example of, yes, he's got a quirky style and a rhythm he's kind of falling into, but there's such an authenticity. It's really coming, I think, from a beautiful place, or at least it seems that way. It feels very authentic to me. And I really liked him in Saltburn. That was, to me, an example of him being like, okay, yeah, I always do play these characters like you're mentioning. Here's a chance for me to play the leading man. He's still ballsy as a performer and it came out, but yes, he was able to be more subdued there. Now, I will say, I do agree with you when it comes to the Batman performance. I know that was just like a throwaway scene or like an extra scene that is in the Batman where he is playing the Joker. I assumed, you know, he got that role because of Killing of a Sacred Deer. He's just puffing out his chest a little bit, I think, because he knows he has big shoes to fill and there's a lot of expectation with that role. So this is the one example where I do agree with you and I do think it is forced. Okay, so next one. Zendaya. And yeah, I've seen Challengers. Horrible acting with just two modes in every single movie. Angry/moody and sassy/sad. Okay, I think I have talked about Zendaya before at some point, but I'm going to talk about her again just because I feel like her star power keeps rising, obviously. She's obviously very talented. I mean, when she came on the scene, she was really young, and she's that triple threat, and that's what they look for. It's kind of like the Mickey Mouse Club sort of thing. She could sing, she could act, she could dance. Not only that, but she's strategic, and I think she has a real plan for herself in that sense. And so it's like, yeah, we've seen this trajectory just going up and up and up for her, but I don't know if it's necessarily earned at this point in her career. It's like, yeah, she goes from like, you know, child star, cutesy, all of that. And then, you know, there's that natural progression where it's like, we're going to go hard and we're going to do like the big drug role, raw to prove we're all grown up and that sort of thing. And, you know, I'm a big fan of Euphoria, and a lot of actors from that show have become big stars that we've seen. You know, Hunter Schafer, Sydney Sweeney, Jacob Elordi, the list goes on. But I do think that Zendaya is maybe one of the less compelling ones from an acting standpoint. Don't get me wrong, I think she does a fabulous job in Euphoria. She's fantastic with a lot of the vulnerability, and she really goes for it, so I applaud that. But I also think that the character is very much written to be like her, and she's obviously partnering with somebody, a director that I think she really vibes with. From there, we jump from Euphoria to working in films with like Denis Villeneuve and, you know, Luca Guadagnino with Challengers, that sort of thing. And then Christopher Nolan is coming up next. And I just don't think that she's quite on that level of being able to understand performance and acting on that level. She seems perfectly groomed for the spotlight, almost like a Beyonce. And it's like, I actually think she's a better model. I think she would be a fabulous model because she's just, it's her dance ability. She has an ability to hold her body and just understand a vibe. All of that I think is fantastic, but I just don't think it quite translates cinematically, at least at this point. Certainly she can grow into it. And I also think as a persona, that's also a problem because it's like Zendaya, it's one name, so you think the persona is going to be compelling. She's just not as compelling as, say, like a Florence Pugh or, you know, an Anya Taylor-Joy. I think those girls are fabulous actresses, but they also have something to say outside of that. And you do have to have the whole package. So again, nothing against her. She has talent. She's a hard worker, obviously. I just don't know if all of this prestige that she's gained is necessarily earned. That is just my opinion. Next one. The sad answer is that films have become so bland lately that there isn't anyone interesting enough to feel passionately about. I would actually be happier if there were some larger-than-life actors out there that made my blood boil, but no one has that level of charisma anymore. I see what you're saying, yeah, and I don't think it has anything to do with the level of talent today. I think the talent is better than ever. I think it's just more the directors and the stories being written. And yes, I think partially it's because we don't have movies that are as cinematic and as powerful, and they don't have the same meaning that they once did. So it's like when you look at these actors, they don't have the same impact on us. It's because they're not playing characters that resonate with us, and they're not in movies that really, you know, knock us over for the most part. A lot of it has to do with the industry itself. It's become very political, where it's like you have to be on one side or else you get rejected. You have to speak a certain way. I mean, we all saw the Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande press tour for Wicked, and it's just this strange sort of way that it's like these robots that are promoting films. It's not like it was. I 100% agree with you. I miss the rogues. I miss the people that said things that were controversial. Not that that doesn't happen today. It's just not to the same degree. And it's social media, I think Instagram and all of that, it's not a good look for celebrities. They're a lot more interesting when they're distant from us, when we don't know what they're doing, when they didn't have paparazzi. So I think it's a combination of things, but absolutely, I think at the core of it, when it comes to the art, if you can't make the actor seem awesome and powerful, then it's like they're not going to have that following. Denzel Washington. Every character he plays is almost just the same guy again and again. The only variation is whether or not he is the protagonist or antagonist. So there's good guy Denzel or bad guy Denzel, but he always plays Denzel. Same mannerisms, same emotion, same tonal expression, same reactions, same facial expressions, same body language, same everything. Okay, so I agree with what you're saying. Absolutely. This is one of my big criticisms of Denzel Washington. At the same time, I think that he has been able to take that model of old-fashioned movie star. Remember, he comes from a different time. Old-fashioned movie star, and he's been able to live in that really well, where I don't think it gets too tiring for people. I think partially because he is such a good actor. He is so good at conveying emotion in that way. He's so seasoned that there is a comfort. There is an ease, yes, a natural swagger to the way he speaks dialogue. Nobody does it like him. And yes, they've got the typical training day type of performances, but he's so talented and understands subtleties of emotion so well that, you know, I look at a movie like Flight. I mentioned that movie recently. I honestly think that's one of his better performances. It's an incredibly emotional performance, and he has to play somebody who's very dark. He is somebody that can do both stage and cinematic acting where it works. That said, he has admitted that he was more drawn to the personas of acting. The Sidney Poitier types, which is, you know, those are fantastic guys, but obviously they have a certain type of persona that they tended to play often. And it's like, yeah, Denzel has that, but he's also admitted that, you know, he'd like to learn more about films. I think if he had learned more about films and wasn't so interested in the persona of acting his whole career, I think he could have been more versatile as a performer. And that's the thing I think would have made him even more spectacular, because I already love Denzel, but I do agree with you. I think that he could stand to play some roles that are a little bit different from his comfort zone. And it seems that he's wanting to do that. I think he's wanting to go more into directing at this point. So now he's becoming more interested in directors. So I know he's talking to certain directors that do excite me. And I would just love to see him, again, play a role that would be You know, very different for him. I absolutely think he's capable of it. I mean, he's Denzel Washington. But that is the video. Thank you guys so much for writing in. Again, I really like hearing all kinds of different responses. I'm going to plug my website as always. It is deepfocuslens.com. I'm an artist. I do commission portraits and I sell prints of my work. If that is something that you're interested in, you can always go to the website below. And if you have a question about a commission or a print, you can always email me. My email is in the description box below as well. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons who are great. Guys, thank you so much for your support. Welcome to all the new members. If you are interested in supporting, the link for that is below, as well as the rest of my social media information. You can watch more videos here, and you can subscribe if you'd like. Catch you next time.